when you're not in a heated space, like, hey, I really want to make sure we communicate well. And when one of us or both of us are feeling like it gets escalated, I would like to propose that we have a way to get out of that, but we can come back and talk when we're feeling more regulated. And then what I propose is one of us can say, hey, can we table this for later, or whatever language we decide? We can decide on language, whatever works for you. But then in that moment, we schedule a time. It's got to be within 48 hours so that we can still remember what we're talking about, but we can also resolve it and get it done.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Marriage is Tougher Than Woodpecker Lips podcast. This is Bryan, joined by my co-host, Paul. We'd like to welcome you to a community meant for the men of the world to share their thoughts and perspectives on marriage. We can learn from each other's experiences and help each other be better husbands. This week on the pod, we want to talk to you about tabling a conversation. We always get into these moments of contention, and before it gets too heated, we advise each other it might be best to step away, but how do we best come back to the table?
Before we get all the way into the episode, we'd just like to welcome you. Thank you. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've been rocking with us for a while, welcome back. If you'd like to go deeper in this conversation, or if you have any comments, please search Marriage is Tougher on any social media platform. You can also go to marriagestougher.com, hit the contact form, and leave whatever you'd like there, a comment, a suggestion, anything. We'd love to hear from you. You can also hit that contact form if you want to be a guest on the show. Just leave your name and your contact information. We'll get back to you and see how we can get you on the episode. We are here to make a community, so we love to hear from you. So reach out to us again, searching Marriage is Tougher on any social media platform, and we can connect. Now, let's get into the show.
I'm really happy we're talking about this. I struggle with this so hard. I think I'm really good at the tabling the conversation piece, right? Before I completely shut down, I, in most scenarios, am able to say, like, I'm not in a space where I could talk about this right now. I need to back off. Let's talk about this later. I am not so good at bringing it back around, right? So set the scenario, maybe I'm a little heated about something and know that I need to back off. Once some time passes, I calm down. I might even realize that I was inappropriately upset about something, or maybe I was appropriately upset about something, but I've calmed down and kind of like moved past it, right? But the conversation still needs to happen or should happen. And at that point, I'm like, man, is it really even worth it? Like, I'm kind of over it now.
So that's my entire life. Like, I always think, is it even worth it? That's when we have even conversations that we have that are resolved. I'll be like, was that worth having that? Like, what are we doing? So I hear you. I do agree. I don't want to be in a conversation heated or stressed, have my body feel all of that in my body. And like, I should not have a conversation in that space, tense, hot, like, what's going on? Let's relax, chill. A lot of that time when you have, even 12 hours, like you go to sleep, you wake up, you're like, either, what was the point of that? Like, what are we doing? Or do I still feel like I need to talk about it? But sometimes it's like, I don't feel like I need to talk about it, but I already agreed that we should talk about it. So I guess we have to. But admittedly, I'm not terrible. I presently struggle at following back up in a good space or in a good time frame, because now it's like, when is the good time? It's like, oh man, like we're really hitting on all cylinders. So I want to bring this back up. Like, or man, it's really stressful. Do we really have time? Or, oh, it's pretty late. Do I want to go to this conversation? Or it's pretty early. Should we start off the day list with this? In essence, you can find a reason not to, and I've found them all.
Yeah. None of which are valid. I know that life.
Well, no, they're valid reasons, but they're not valid for you not to have the conversation.
But yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I can convince myself to do or not do anything,
Hmm.
but going back on my word is not an option. So if I committed to doing something, I'm gonna do it. Just maybe not on the timeline that I should.
Right.
But yeah, man, like I guess the conversation that I see is how to come back to the table well, right? So let's say I'm not over it, right? Maybe I'm still tight, super tight, extra, extra tight, right?
Skinny jeans on at a buffet tight.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but that's funny. How do I come back to the table well with respect, with an open mind, right? With the mindset of solution or solving.
Yeah, I think is almost like anything in life if you think about it, right? If you played sports, been in business, had to have hard conversations, what is the easiest way or when do you feel the most confident, right? It's when you're prepared,
Mhm.
right? I feel more prepared on the football field or the basketball court when like I've studied, I know what plays they run, I know what defense they run against my offense. I feel great. So, but all that happens before you're in that heated space, right? It's before you're in the competition mode against the other team. You've already come up with a strategy as your team on how
Mm.
you're going to reach those conflicts. So the number one thing is already have the conversation of put the plan together. Like, how are we going to come back together? Right.
Okay.
So what that looks like is when you're not in a heated space, like, hey, I really want to make sure we communicate well. And when one of us or both of us are feeling like gets escalated, I would like to propose that we have a way to get out of that, but we can come back and talk when we're feeling more regulated. And then what I propose is one of us can say, hey, can we table this for later or whatever language we decide? We can decide on language, whatever works for you, babe. But then within in that moment, we schedule a time. It's got to be within 48 hours so that we can still remember what we're talking about, but we can also resolve it and get it done. But when we decide on that time, because we love each other and we want to grow our marriage, we're going to stick to that time. And the point of that is to resolve the issue, to hear out and resolve, right? So if you say it that way, you have your time parameters, what the goal is, and that you both agree. Then when it is heated and one of you do that, like remember we talked about tabling.
Mm.
So and even if it's like, okay, let's take 5 minutes and then come back and schedule. Like if I don't want to schedule right now, blah, blah. Okay, let's everybody chill out. We're gonna schedule. We got to figure out because this is important to us because this stops the silent treatment. This stops the animosity. This stops the passive aggressive comments. This stops the aggressive comments. Like all those things, it can mitigate because you're like, well, we'll just hold how we're not hold how we're feeling, but we know that we'll be able to express our feelings at a certain time frame that's specific to this moment. So
Mm.
now it's not spilling over into making lunch the next day, making dinner next day, taking the kids somewhere, whatever. That's the start, I think. And what do you think about that?
I think that's all great. I love the idea of that. Where my mind was going and someplace that I've struggled in the past is that feeling of double dutch. And what I mean by that is how do I actually start the conversation? Right? Like what words are fair to put on the table, right? And I keep going back to using I statements. And I know for
Mhm.
myself, anytime I hear, well, you, or why do you think you
Mhm.
is really triggering to me? And I'm like, just about ready to shut down again.
Mhm.
Right. So I think this is probably where a lot of people struggle with this because they don't know what words to use to open the conversation.
This is when you come back, or this is to table?
So I'm thinking probably both, but mostly to come back, right? And we'll talk about both, but specifically start with when we come back, because I think this is also helpful initially in the moment of contention to prevent getting to the space where we have to table.
I think so. What I hear you saying is we're talking about when we're coming back from the table first, and then we'll talk about how to get there in the middle. There's a couple different ways you can do it. The way that is fantastic in theory, but you have to be mature in a space, or trusting, like in a trusting space, is to be able to say, hey, now is the time. Like, hey, remember we said we were going to meet at, 5:05 just to come back. I'll see you at, you know, at the kitchen table at that time, whatever that is. Then you sit there and you're like, okay, how do we do this? All right. I think you take a moment of remembrance of who the person is that's across from you, right? Who is my wife? She is a loving, caring person who always has my best interest in mind. And she runs our house like a boss, right? And it's almost like reminding you that the issue is the issue, not the person.
Mhm.
So you can go, how are we going to tackle this issue? I'm not going to attack this person that I love. It's kind of a mindset shift now to the words that you can actually say is, hey, I love you so much. We had to table this conversation because we're a little dysregulated, but I want you to know that I'm here to solve this issue together with you so that we can better our marriage and kind of move forward as a family.
That's good.
Yeah, I need
That's
to
good.
record. I need to write that down for myself. But
Yeah.
something of that nature, whatever works for your language with your spouse. But it's acknowledging that you're coming back, acknowledging that you love the person, but that you're both gonna attack this issue. And the point is for you to be better, stronger, and have resolution, and then so that you can move forward for your family.
Yeah. I like how you framed the conversation, right? Like you basically set an agenda, right? Like here's what we're trying to accomplish. We're on the same team here, leading with love, right? Like I love you. We know this. Same team, right?
Yeah.
Obviously we have different perspectives or different points of view on this topic, but let's approach this with the mindset that we're here to solve it. So I love that. What I also know that has worked for me, like I mentioned earlier, is using I statements. And I think I had to learn that because I know how triggering it is for me when those types of statements are not used.
Mhm.
Right? So being on the other end of that, I'm just fully aware of how my words can impact someone. And it's funny because a lot of times, a spouse might not know why those words are triggering. Sometimes that's going to take like a deep dive in therapy to figure that out.
Mhm.
But the awareness that certain words are triggering, always kind of put that in the back of your mind like, all right, if I say this in this way with this tone, this is going to go south fast for no reason. Right?
And don't weaponize that.
Correct, correct. Which is so easy to do. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to get my cuts back, right?
Mhm.
Trying to get my digs in. So like for me, that sounds something along the lines of I am feeling some type of way, right? And maybe it's for a lack of not understand or a lack of understanding, right? Whatever the reason is that you're feeling some type of way, just let it be known. And that's another hard piece, right? To acknowledge our feelings and admit them,
Mhm.
you know? But yeah, I'm feeling some type of way because this happened, not because you did this, right?
Right.
Because it happened. I'm looking for understanding. Maybe it's something that I did that triggered you. Maybe there's something that we could be doing better together to prevent this in the future. And then I would say something along the lines of like, "Can you provide some input?" or "What are your thoughts?"
Mhm.
And asking an open-ended question, not being accusatory, just opens space for an honest response, right? It opens a safe space for conversation, and I think that it allows the other party to feel that you actually care about not just the result, I would say even how this is affecting them.
Mhm.
So it takes some practice, say that much.
Yeah. I man, I was thinking of I statements and statements that aren't accusatory as you're saying that. Like, how do we I think everything you're saying is awesome. For those new to this, it is a lot of trial and error
Mm,
and a lot of humility because we instinctively want to clap back.
mm,
We are in clap back culture, period. And I think it's maybe yeah, anyone who was raised by anyone born from like 1975 on, like, because the 80s and 80s was clap back city, and then it's just multiplied when you can add memes and everything else to it. It's
mm.
crazy.
Well,
But so I was thinking of how can you say something that can be received? And I think I have an example. It would be like, I felt fill in the blank
mm,
when I heard this statement, right? Not when you said this, it's
right.
when I heard this, because this is what I heard. When I heard this, this affected me this way. And then you can say, what was the purpose behind the statement that was made?
Mm,
Right? Or what was the intention behind the purpose that was made? Because that's not you said this and you did this. It's I
right.
heard this and what was the intention? Like, did you intend to, and actually you don't even have to lead. You just say what was the purpose behind that statement.
Mhm,
Right. If it does come down to you want to express like your feelings, you were hurt, you were sad, belittled, you were whatever. Like I felt very belittled in that moment. Was that your intention?
mm,
Or was that the intention of the statement, right? If you say talk about what the action or the statement, not what was done, that what you did or what you said. So it's kind of changing the language because then it makes it more sterile and again, you're not attacking the person, you're attacking the situation or you're addressing the action, right? Not addressing you're addressing the statement, not the person. Because at the end of the day, you love the person
mm,
and you hopefully they're not trying to hurt you when they're saying or doing these things. Again, these are fully healthy relational things, not abuse in any way.
right.
So I think that's how I would suggest that people go upon, especially if you're new to it. Now,
Mm,
as you kind of get a rhythm of this is how we're doing it and you're building trust in the space of the table, then you can be more direct if that's what your relationship needs or is open to, then you can be a little bit more direct. But I think it's always good to say the statement, the action, because then it's very clear that we're talking about the statement and the action, not the person.
yeah. That's good, man. And I think it's a perfect segue as well to sort of help complete the conversation. We were talking about how do we prevent having to table things, right? Like if you're in a healthier space, those are the types of tools we can use to help settle things in the moment rather than having to table it, right?
Hmm.
And so what I thought of, especially when you said, man, what was the intent of that? If we could practice listening for intent, right? Even if we're feeling attacked, man, her intent right now is to figure this out, right? Maybe she didn't use the right words, but I know she loves me. She's not actually trying to attack me right now, right? Maybe she's just in a space right now where she's not formulating the words that I would prefer her to use. Fair. Her intent right now is to just ask me this question. How can I won't even ask myself that. How can I not get triggered? But like, let's not allow myself to get triggered and just hear her intent, whether or not it sounds the way she intended it to sound, right? And then using the words that you mentioned, right? Like, hey, before I get triggered here, I heard this, and maybe even use the tool of repeating it back, right? So
Mm-hmm.
here's what I heard. One, I want to make sure that I understand what you're saying to me, but also want to know what your true intent is behind the statement. And then let them respond, because then that offers grace. It offers space for them to reiterate if needed
Mm-hmm.
or double down.
Yeah. I mean, it is good, right, to say, what I hear you saying is this. And then they can say, I didn't mean to say it that way. Or, yes, that's exactly what it is. Because we, like you said on the trigger part, like we can unintentionally hear something through the filter of our triggers
Mhm.
and then automatically think it's something that it's not. And so when you say what I hear you saying is this, and then try to repeat it back verbatim, then they can say, absolutely. But what that does mentally is you're hearing it again. You're
Yep.
actually processing it through the original way it was said. And you're
Mhm.
like, you're hearing the words, okay, so what was said was this. Not what I think was said was this. So what was
Yep.
actually said was this. These are the facts of the matter, not me filtering it through how I feel in the moment. And if you can practice that, a lot of times you don't have to table things because the communication is clear. And then you're actually moving away from the feelings portion and using your logic side when you're repeating back. So you're using the logic side of your brain to actually comprehend and process, and not that the feeling side is wrong, but it filters out anything that we may be harboring. Or even if we're having a bad day and we're in a bad spot, okay, what she's only saying this. She's
Mhm.
not saying I'm a terrible person because you feel
Mhm.
like you're a terrible person because you had a bad day at work and you failed and your boss was coming at you. Now she's asking you to help clean up the kitchen. Now you feel like you failed and you let her down because it's something that you normally always do and you didn't, and now you're feeling terrible about it, and now you're defensive. Right? Does
Mhm.
that you know what I mean? So
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's just random things that can happen that aren't even really related to what she's saying. They're only related because she said.
Mm.
But if you repeat it back, it's just a statement. That's
Yeah.
all it is when you boil it down.
Yeah. Man, that's powerful. I think it's something I need to put into practice for sure. Because I still get triggered from time to time. I mean, I was triggered about something last night, to be fully honest. And I think if in the moment I were able to say, like, man, this is what I heard you say, or from my perspective, this is how it came off, right? Like, what was what was behind that? What was your intent?
Well, you don't even have to say from my perspective, this is how it came off.
Yeah,
You
true.
just you just say, this is what I heard you say. And then you just is this what am I hearing you right? This is what I heard. And then you let her say, yes, that's exactly it. Or yes, but I didn't mean it that way. Like, because sometimes if you give back verbatim, they're like, oh, that could have been a little crazy, right?
Right,
So,
right, right.
and it's also giving grace for them to re-say it, right?
Yeah, I think what I did is I kind of merged issues, right? Like, I have an issue with how you said something,
Correct.
right? And then the separate issue is there's something here that we need to solve, that like what
Correct.
your concern is, right? So
Right.
yeah, I think we talked about that before. Compounding
Yeah. Don't want to do
issue,
that.
right? Okay.
Yeah. Just make it the statement because that's what makes it easiest to move forward. Because right now you say, I have an issue with how you said it. You've now lost the actual statement. And now that can potentially make your partner now feel triggered or whatever. And now we missed the whole point of what was being said. Now we're talking about the delivery. And do you even care about me because you said it to me this way?
Mm,
Right. And now we're down a whole different moment. And that's a lot of the times we're like, what were we even arguing about.
Right, right.
It's more we're talking about the delivery and how we feel disrespected or we feel sad or feel disregarded because of the delivery, and the whole point of the thing that we're supposed to, attack together is now not even being addressed. Now we're attacking each other instead of attacking the issue.
Yeah.
And that gets us nowhere.
Facts. Well, I think this is a good conversation. It's a needed conversation, and I hope it was helpful to everybody out there because I know this is something that I have struggled with for a long time and continue to struggle with. I am practicing. I'm working on it, trying to be better,
Same.
but I'm a work in progress with this and most things, all
Right.
things.
Right. So, yeah, we appreciate you guys making it all the way through the episode. If you feel like this could help someone, I don't usually say that a bunch, but send this episode to someone and have them listen to it and start a conversation. If you have any comments for us, reach out to Searching Marriage is Tougher on any social media platform, or go to our website, marriagestougher.com, hit the contact form, leave your message there. Do the same if you'd like to be a guest. Leave your contact information and the topic you'd like to talk about, and we'll reach back out, get you on the show. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to rock with us. And until next time, we'll chat later.
Peace.